Hey friends, so we're in the absolute last lesson and it's preparing content for a web. So it has a lot of different things that you probably won't use for a very long time, and we're actually not going to do the whole lesson because it gets into CSS and it gets a little confusing. So we're just going to do part of it. So kind of a quick, easy week. So let's get started. So there's only the start file, and there's some missing fonts, and I've already synced them, and you may need to sync them. It takes a minute, but so you'll sync those fonts. And we're going to rename this to web design. So what we're going to do is a few different things with this. All right. So we're going to save content for a web. So it talks about CSS stuff, which is, just click OK. All right. And CSS is cascading style sheets. If you're familiar with web design, this will be good for you to know. Read through what the text says. We're just going to get through the lesson. A lot of it will not have much of an impact for you. So aligning content for pixel grid, because we are going to save this as a JPEG like we normally do. And the standard web PPI is 72 DPI, and we usually work in 300. Because 300 is print resolution, you work in print resolution and then edit down to 72. So, remember when we work with vector graphics, the lines are smooth and beautiful. So if we zoom in, that's fuzzy because it's pixel, but these lines are nice and smooth and they're gorgeous, and we want to somehow make them gorgeous even though we're going to make them as a JPEG. So it has you kind of open up a new document and kind of understand settings. So if you toggle down advanced, CMYK, raster effects, you guys will always be working in 300. It's better to work in 300 than change down to 72 than do 72 and change up. So I personally say always work in 300, but it says you can change things to 72. But in our web design AI file, we're going to file, document, color mode. And we have CMYK and RGB. Remember, RGB is set for screen and CMYK is for printing. Typically, it's not a huge deal, but when you work in a big graphic design firm, it'll be a big deal. So you want to keep it at RGB. Make sure that is selected because this is going to go for the web. So with the zoom tool, let's zoom in under the text with accessories. And we're going to view pixel preview to see what it looks like. Will look like rasterize. Rasterize is with pixels. So you can see these gross little lines, and the text is kind of more difficult to see. And we're at 400%, so if we go up to 600, it is just extra gross. So you can kind of see the grossness. So with the selection tool, what we're going to do is click the larger white shape that is part of the cup. It's hard to select just the cup part. I'll select that one for now. And you notice the straight edges look fuzzy there. So so if we select that and go to transform, align to pixel grid, it smooths them out, which makes them so much nicer. The objects that are pixel aligned do not have the straight vertical horizontal segments, so it makes them really, really nice. So if we kind of zoom out, even at 100%, that part looks so much nicer than the rest. So next we're going to do is slicing content. I think slicing content is dumb. I'm not a big fan of it. It was kind of a big thing in the early 2000s when we were designing websites, and you would design these very large files, and for some reason you get a bunch, teens, people in their 20s designing websites who didn't know the proper way because we're just like stealing code from people. And what we do is we would slice our stuff because it's quicker to load 21 megabyte files than versus one 20 megabyte file. So we would slice them and arrange them. This is kind of where that theory comes from for slicing. That's what we used to do, and it was dumb. And we could just make the file size larger for web, but we didn't know these things. But that's what we used to do. So in our layers panel, we're going to open up. We're going to Option or Alt click the Create a New Layer button. And we're just going to name this one Slices. And we're just going to drag it to the top. There you go. Make sure we're on the Slices layer. We're going to take the Slice tool from our tool panel, which looks like an X-Acto, Shift K. And we're going to go up to where it says the plural list. I'm going to get out of this pixel preview. This pixel preview is the worst. And we're going to slice around the logo for the plural list, and don't worry about it not kind of fitting correctly. Doesn't want to slice. That's odd. Makes no sense. 1 second. See, I'm just trying to figure out why it doesn't want to slice. So we're going to pause this video, and I guess I'll see you for the next video for this. I'm going to Google it and figure out some answers.